Tonight, a global cyber attack which struck millions of computers across the world last week has been attributed to the late arrival of Y2K.
Local officials at Niskayuna's Van Antwerp Middle School have begun handing out fidget spinners to all students as they have discovered the toy to be the most effective form of contraception available.
And we brought in 7th grader Hunter Landon to finally answer the question, will Midsummer Night's Dream still be read in 20 years? You've tuned in to the most relevant stories on Baked News.
Thank you for joining us for the Dutch Oven's in-depth coverage for the week of May 19th. Getting right to our main story tonight, the Trump administration announced yesterday that the sunglass-wearing corpse of Roger Ailes, carried around by Eric and Donald Trump Jr., would serve in official capacity as the director of the FBI.
Former FBI Director Robert Mueller was appointed by the Justice Department as special counsel in the Russian investigation. His official duties include mysteriously disappearing sometime in the next few weeks, leaving no trace but an unfinished glass of gin in his office, smeared with what appears to be the fingerprints of a Soviet military surgeon who has neither been seen nor heard from in over 2 decades.
President Trump's remarks to Russian officials last week, including the disclosure of classified information and exultation over his firing of James Comey, prompted an outcry from political opponents. The president responded to criticism by tweeting out a Google image search for Megyn Kelly's shoulders, followed by another tweet that read, "I did not mean to send that, #MAGA." For more, we go to our Middle East correspondent Guy Smithfield, who has been able to locate the source of the intelligence President Trump shared with the Russian foreign minister and ambassador in the Oval Office last week. Guys?
You're in the shot! Thanks, second reporter. The individual who gathered this classified information told me that if Trump keeps sharing all these secrets with the leaders of other countries, I'll just start tweeting it instead. That way the truth may actually get to the right people. He then ducked away from the table at the coffee shop and started muttering something about moving to Antarctica. If this trend continues, soon enough Trump will not be able to share classified information, as there won't be anything left to share.
President Trump also embarked on his first international diplomatic trip last week, beginning in Saudi Arabia, where he signed a $110 billion arms deal. Trump praised the deal, saying it would, quote, create jobs for thousands of hard-working American pieces of military equipment. Saudi Arabia's King Salman celebrated the deal by dropping 20,000 tons of champagne on Yemeni civilians.
Trump next traveled to Israel, where he was commended by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when he advocated for a one-estate solution, offering to purchase the whole of Palestine and turn it into the most beautiful golf course.
Vice President Mike Pence also tweeted out this picture last week and quoted a favorite phrase of Ronald Reagan's by saying, quote, there's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. This, of course, is loosely adapted from a biblical passage in Psalms 34, quote, taste and see that the Lord is good, but that a horse is even better.
Let the Grecian dream of the sacred stream and sing of the brave adorning.
In Union News, yesterday, a student on a longboard was unable to make it to class due to the sheer number of sexual advances he encountered on the way.
The Interfraternity Council lambasted last week's car smashing, stating that a real fraternity shouldn't need a charitable excuse to smash a car to pieces in a blind rage.
Reunion was this weekend, and organizations all across campus held events with returning alumni to celebrate their success in school spirit across generations. Festivities featured a petting zoo, free ice cream, and merriment abounded as the Calvinist Student Alliance burned an effigy of Pope Urban VII on West Beach.
Viagra sales reportedly spiked in anticipation of the weekend, as the class of 1967 returned for a 50th anniversary frat crawl.
During Saturday's hotly anticipated annual fireworks show, it is reported that the drunk onlooker next to you lamented how much of a better job he would have done with the fireworks if only they had handed him the reins.
The weekend is almost here, and Union students are clamoring for the annual Lobster Fest. However, a wrench has been thrown into the normally joyful festivities, as students have received numerous threatening emails from a lobster extremist group known as Claw, or the Chechen Lobster Armament Wing, who have sent messages and pictures encouraging students not to attend the event.
If you don't want to bisque your life against enraged Eastern European arthropods, you could hang out by the external heater behind Proctor's and get splattered with grease. Bring a smock. On this week's segment of What's Cooking, we did an investigative report on whether a brown recluse spider could lay eggs in my throat. results were inconclusive. And finally tonight, we go to Hunter Landon, 7th grader at Niskayuna Van Antwerp Middle School, who's going to read us his Midsummer Night's Dream book report. Hunter?
In 20 years in Niskayuna Van Antwerp Middle School, 7th and 8th grade students will probably be reading and acting out A Midsummer's Night Dream, or at least a similar work of Shakespeare's writing similar to it. Shakespeare wrote his plays and his stories hundreds of years ago, and yet they've been cherished ever since. Many books will fade away because they may just be a category that is popular at that time or a fad, but Midsummer is a quality piece of literature that will be read for ages and ages to come. Many books and plays have borrowed certain parts of Midsummer. It is what I call a game changer. A part of Midsummer that is unique and interesting is the three worlds: the world of the Duke, the world of the common man, and the magical world of all the fairies all coexisting at once. Between these three worlds, only two characters mingle in all three: Punk and Bottom. And another couple more modern books that uses this concept are Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and the Olympians, and countless others. I don't think that the NVAMS will stop reading Midnight Summer's Dream in 20 years or in 100 years.
Thank you, Hunter, and thank you all for joining us.
This has been the Dutch Oven's Baked News.